Hello again, Internet. It's Arrow here from the Aerodactyl. Today we got some big news in the form of a brand new trailer. Not only did we get a look at some new Pokemon and a new Alolan form, but we got introduced to a whole new team in the Ether Foundation, as well as this brand new mysterious presence that is threatening Alola, known as Ultra Beasts, and we've only seen one so far, which is UB01, which I believe stands for Ultra Beast number 1, so there's supposed to be more. Now, the internet is currently awash in crazy theories of what this could be. We just found out about it. We have very little information to go on, but I thought I would share with you guys today the top 9 theories of what I think could be what these Ultra Beasts are. Now, first things first, let's just go over what little information we do have. As I said before, we've only got a look at this one, and we know that it's shown to pop out of some kind of gate, hole, thing, as seen in the Japanese trailer, which has a little more footage than most of the other languages. We know it resembles Lillie, and the Ultra Beast itself is said to act like a little girl. So I think it's fairly confident that we can assume that this is supposed to be like Lillie. Whether or not it is, I don't know. We also know that this particular Ultra Beast is said to be of a glass-like substance, and it constantly is changing its shape, never settling on one. So we don't know entirely what this means, but that's a pretty big idea. And we also know that Ultra Beasts possess mighty powers and could pose a threat to humans and Pokemon, so they are feared. We don't know what this means, what kind of powers it is, but we do know that they are feared. So this is kind of all we know. And so I'm just going to go over the top 9 theories. Now, some of these are crazy, outlandish, ridiculous. Some have more merit than others and are more plausible, but that's for you to decide and me to just show you what they all are. So without further ado, here we go. Our number 9 theory is that these Ultra Beasts are from the same world, but are from a different time. So this hole that we see this UB01 come from is really just a gateway that links to either the future or the past. And this Ultra Beast is actually some kind of future or past Pokemon with different kinds of powers, abilities, adaptations, based on the future or the past. This theory is mainly based on the idea that we are going to get Gen 4 remakes, and Gen 4 had a strong theme of space and time, as we have Dialga and Palkia with, the space and time Pokemon. So the idea is that they're from the future or the past, and a lot of this Gen's story is going to be based on time and space. The number 8 theory is that all of these Ultra Beasts are actually forms of old Pokemon that have adapted in outer space or some other dimension. So they'd be very similar to Alolan forms, but they didn't develop on Alola. Instead, it was in a different planet, perhaps on the sun or moon itself. And that's where these are. And so perhaps this is actually perhaps a Tentacruel. This is the celestial Tentacruel former, something along those lines, and that these are just Pokemon's sort of adaptations, just like Alola forms, except these have happened in alternate dimensions or space, and it's why we have such drastic changes. And our number 7 theory is that Ultra Beasts are a human Pokemon combination. So something, possibly the Ether Foundation, has combined human and Pokemon genetics, and this is what happened. And they're combined the strength of Pokemon plus the strength of people, and has brought them together to form these bizarre, threatening creatures that don't quite act like Pokemon and don't act like people. I don't think there's a lot holding this theory together. One of the few things that bring this one about is that the French translation of Ultra Beasts is actually Ultra Chimeras, and a chimera has several different things. One of them is a mythical creature that is made up of several creatures, of most commonly a lion and a goat and a snake. But chimerism is also a medical condition in which you have different DNA inside of you, and it's used in several different places. So this is one of the few things that gives it that merit, is because we have this word in the French translation, but this could mean several things. It doesn't have to mean a simple human Pokemon combination. And one of the few other things that make people believe that it's a human Pokemon combination is the resemblance to Lillie that UB01 has. But I think that's a little bit of a misnomer because if UB01 was some sort of human Pokemon fusion and had Lillie's DNA, it wouldn't copy Lillie's outfit. Like how Lillie decides to dress is not part of her DNA. That's just part of her fashion style. Like if it would only copy Lillie in her actual physical appearance, but it wouldn't copy like her hat and her dress and her hair style, how she chooses to style her hair. So I think this is probably one of the weakest ones, but it's an interesting thought nonetheless. And theory number 6 is that these Ultra Beasts are some kind of mirage or ghost. Perhaps these are spirits of Pokemon or people that were killed in some climatic event, probably something akin to the ultimate weapon being used in X and Y, as it was said to use up the energy of several Pokemon. And so perhaps they were maybe even created by some sort of strong energy force, perhaps by something that the Ether Foundation is doing at Ether Paradise, their man-made island. And there isn't a lot giving this theory merit in Sun and Moon itself. It's mostly built up off of things we've seen in X and Y, like the ultimate weapon and the story of the horde of faceless men, which could be described by UB01 is said to take different shapes, and so perhaps it was a horde of UB01 that were taking on a semi-human form, but as you can see, it has no face, so it brings up these kind of ghostly stories. Theory number 5 is that the Ultra Beasts are Pokemon, but they are Pokemon of a brand new, undiscovered type that are directly from space, and thus they are new and unknown by people, and that's what makes them frightening. So they are Pokemon, but they have this brand new type, this undiscovered type. And this would be some kind of space type, like maybe celestial or stellar, or maybe even hinting to the kind of vacuum of space, like void type. One of the few things that gives this theory any merit is simply that we've seen a lot of space Pokemon in the past, or Pokemon that are hinted at having some link to space. We have Lunatone, Solrock, Clefable, Deoxys, even Staryu and Starmie. Now the new Minior. Like there's a lot, and this is the Sun and Moon generation, and it's based off of a lot of things in space, the sun, the moon, celestial bodies. So it could make sense that these are just trying a way of bringing in a brand new type, and instead of just like when they just threw in fairy, like this is actually having some kind of plot relevance, and it might even relate to our legends. I personally don't think that this is a very strong theory because I don't think there's a lot demanding a new type, and I feel like a new type would be kind of a strange thing to give on us right now, but it is something that these are just Pokemon of some brand new type. Or perhaps even some sort of pseudo type, like half type, that perhaps like the Shadow corrupting that you see in the Coliseum game, or like Shadow Mewtwo that you see in Pokken Tournament, that this will be some sort of pseudo type. Theory number 4 is that these are man-made Pokemon gone wrong or that have gotten out of hand. This is one of my favorite theories, as there is quite a bit supporting it, as the Ether Foundation is said to have taken a special interest in them. As I mentioned earlier, the French translation translate them as chimera, the ultra chimeras, which gives strong hints that these are formed things out of several different things. So perhaps these are like synthetic Pokemon, and perhaps it's another Mewtwo situation where the creation has usurped its creator and it's on the loose and could be causing mayhem. Another thing that really gives this theory merit is that there's a lot of hints of alchemy in this generation. Everywhere we've seen it. It's even hinted slightly at the starters. It's hinted in the mythos and some of the terminology we've seen. And this just goes on. Even the word aether, like Ether Foundation, is all part of the theory and mythology behind alchemy. Theory number 3 is that these are actually just some of our legendary Pokemon, and they're just overhyped or misunderstood. This would be very similar actually to what we've seen in past legends like Deoxys, who fell from space. And we're probably not going to get a lot of these Ultra Beasts. There might be 3 or 4, and they might even serve as our legendary trio or some kind of quartet and we're going to face them and they're going to be unknown, but really they're just Pokemon and they're going to function like Pokemon. Number 2 is one of my favorite theories, and I think the theory that has the most merit right now is that these are actually like alien Pokemon. Ultra Beasts are actually kind of Pokemon, but they are from a very, very distant planet, and they are somehow transporting over. Perhaps it's something the Ether Foundation has done, some sort of experiment they're running, or perhaps it's the power of the Ultra Beasts themselves that are getting them across space. And again, we've had Pokemon come from space before, or hinted to have come from space, such as Deoxys and Clefable. But perhaps these are going like even further. I think this one is possible just because this is Sun and Moon. A lot of this is talking about space, and it would make sense that these are from space. There's also just one line that the president, Lusamine, from the Ether Foundation makes, and she says that even Pokemon from distant worlds far from the Alola region are worthy of her love. And I think that's very telling, as their Ether Foundation is supposed to be very interested in it, and it just seems like a very odd line to say unless you were certain that there was, Pokemon from far distant worlds. And finally, in our number 1 theory is that Ultra Beasts are alternate or dimensional beings, maybe from an alternate dimension or some sort of in-between dimension. This could mean they are typeless, or some sort of pseudotype is hinted at earlier. And we've seen different alternate universes before in the Pokemon games. We've seen it in Gen 4, which is the Distortion world, and again, many people assume that we're going to get a Gen 4 remake, as it's the next one after 3. That doesn't mean we are, but it would. The time and space does link nicely with the whole Celestial Sun and Moon theme. And we've also seen different dimensions in the recent Super Mystery Dungeon, where we had the Void Lands. This was another example of sort of like an alternate dimension with beings in it that were of some strange, bizarre kind of type, and were just sort of like evil and darkness. So this is one of the things in it. This alternate, and they're coming from alternate dimensions. This theory is really supported in the fact that this is a common theme in Pokemon. We've seen it come up before, and also just the way that this UB01 is shown to appear in some of the trailer footage is almost as if it's breaking through a dimensional barrier. And I think this makes a lot of sense too, as compared to the other theories, it really seems to work with the information that we have. So whether it's some kind of hole in space-time or dimensions itself, that these Ultra Beasts are just punching through. So that wraps up all the theories I have for you today about what the Ultra Beasts could be. The great thing about some of these theories is that a lot of them can actually go together. They can be mixed and matched. Perhaps they are man-made things between Pokemon and alternate dimensional beings, or they are aliens and they are from a different time as well. So a lot of these can be mixed together. So let me know in your comments below if you liked any of these theories, if you have any of your own theories, or what you think these are all going to be about. Do you think we're going to be able to fight Ultra Beasts? Do you think they're going to be some sort of boss? Or do you think they're just going to run in the background, things that we interact with but don't ever really fight, or things that we can't catch? Or do you think they're going to end up being Pokemon in their own right when all is said and done? So comment below, and thanks for watching.